Welcome back. Last video, I talked about four players who I think have been pretty disappointing this season. Now I'm here to the opposite and talk about four players who have surprised me the most this season. The first player is Elite. I think we all know they not invest a lot on their front line this summer. Bringing in Cunha, bringing in Brian Miomo, bringing in Seshko, I think was the investment that was needed, but I did think that they somewhat overlooked the defensive line. I think last year just showed how great of a lack of quality and lack of depth they have at the defensive line. Seeing Masraoui being played out of position so many times last season, seeing Shawnee Evans play so many minutes last season, seeing Luke Shaw play so much even when he wasn't already on great form, I think was really showing how bad the defensive line was last year. We're now seeing this season being a very big difference because the lead has set up to be the main guy on the defensive line. I did think that a leader had to step up to the table in the defensive line. I don't think Maguire is able to do so because even though he should be an amazing captain in the dressing room, I don't think he has the ability to act as the leader of the defensive line. I don't think Yordo is a young player to be able to have that role already. And Martinez is a guy that's very unreliable with fitness issues. So I don't know how much of a trust you can put in him, especially because he's missed the first 2-3 months of the season. And Leeds is a guy that stepped up to be the leader of the defensive line. And it's a guy that, from last season to this season, has taken a very, very good jump. Maybe because United doesn't really use him a lot in the build-up phase, considering from last season. Maybe because now plays more centrally rather than always playing on the right side of the defense. But it's been very good. I think anticipation has been very key for United in terms of being able to cut passes to the front line. His box defending has been amazing. RTB from more crosses, from floated crosses, even amazing in every situation. As a guy that you can trust to have him in the box. Even side pieces, it's been a very good weapon, especially look at the game against Spurs. He scored the equalizer in the final minutes. So you can see how big of a role the lead now has at his team. And Emery made some tweaks to really afford him to be playing the best football of his life so far. I also think that the lead is now a very big reason as why United is not going through this 5-game unbeaten streak. I don't think a lot of people expect United to be at 7th place right now. I do think it's been kind of a bit of a surprise. I think the lead has to be a very big factor in that happening. I don't mean that they're now great defensively. I think United still has a lot of also feel defensively. It doesn't mean feel like Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro is not really a midfield duo that you can really put a lot of trust defensively. Even on the wings, Amad Diallo, Lord Dalot are not guys that really have put a lot of confidence defensively. So really, like a lot of the defensive possibilities kind of fall on the shoulders of those three center backs on the team. And Lid's a guy that even though he's been doing a lot, he can do it all. So obviously United still been fairly weak in terms of defending shots and not stealing goals. This is a guy that we saw at Ajax 6 years ago. Beat his great when the kid at Ajax went to Sevilla at Bayern. I think it was pretty much underwhelming at both these teams. And now United, especially this season, I think we're now starting to see some of the potential that a lot of people started to see in him at Ajax. And I think United is able to keep this run of form going. I think we're probably going to see that prime lead or the potential that we saw from the lead happen at United. Second player, Marcus Rashford. I'll be honest with you. After Rashford had a pretty bad spell at Man United last season, considering both at the both from Mourinho. After an underwhelming long spell at Aston Villa, I don't think he was able to come to Barcelona and be able to make an impact. I don't think so. And so far, he's done that. 16 games, 6 goals, 7 assists. Has been very good for Rashford this season. I don't think a big reason as why Barca has struggled so far this season in terms of winning matches and conceding goals because all of the players are injured. In the front line, they have Rafinha injured for the past 2 months. Lewandowski was injured for quite a bit. Yamal was injured quite a bit as well. Even Lani was injured quite a bit. Rashford has been a guy that, when all these players are injured, even when Yamal was playing, when Barca needed the most, even a guy that stepped up to the plate has been the man for Barca. I think his creativity has been amazing this season. That's kind of an aspect of his game that I don't think we really saw a lot of him at United in the previous years. Obviously, his goal scoring always been there, has been there for quite some time of this season. 6 goals as a very good strikes in Champions League from long range in the box. It's been very good, right? I think it's been as what Barca needed in terms of everything replacements. Because last year, I think they lacked a lot in their depth offensively. Obviously, they have Ferran Torres, who's a great backup to Lewandowski. I don't think they had a near enough great backup, both Rafinha and Yamal. And with them both guys always playing as much as they did last season, some issues were bound to happen, especially for that Yamal, still a young player. I do think Rashford has been able to serve as a backup and be able to play amazingly well. I also think that if Barca has the money to do so in the summer, able to agree on the fee for a transfer and for the wages. I do think they have to buy Rashford. I think it's a guy that not only this season, but for the next 2 or 3 seasons, even more, going to be a guy to be very key for Barcelona. Either as a starter, either off the bench. I think it's a guy that whenever you want to play him, it'd be great. I think it's a guy for what he showed for Barcelona, from a guy who's not really had a lot of great long spells at Aston Villa, not had with United in the past 2 years, has been a guy that came to Barcelona and has been amazing. Third player is Luka Modric. Now, I do think he's still a great player, and I also do think that his quality is undeniable. But last year, Real Madrid, he very much lost his spot in the midfield. We saw more younger midfielders kind of earn more minutes, more than Modric, and we saw him kind of take more of a bench role at some point this season. And even in terms of his finish issues, he wasn't able to complete a lot of games. I don't think he really played a lot of full 90s in a lot of games. So I think the finish issues and the fact that it's now obviously, I don't say worse, but his kind of physical attributes have also gone down a lot in the past year, 2 years. I think that shows that I don't think he really at a place anymore in the Real Madrid squad. But now, what really surprised me the most from is him coming to AC Milan, being able to be such a great player as being able to do this season, is the fact that this league is amazing for PMP players, for pace and power players. Thinking of Osimhen, thinking of Lukaku, Sam McTominay, Sam Anguissa, those are all players who have great pace and power. And Modric doesn't have neither the pace nor the power to be able to do that. I'm very surprised to see Luka Modric be able to fit in at a league so easily. Also, the fact that Milan doesn't have European football helps because then Modric is able to be fit for every single weekend game. And doesn't have to worry about being subbed off early because of fitness issues or whatever. So I do think that made Modric settle in quite easier at Milan. But I do think that, again, I was very surprised to see how much of a great player he still is. Look at the passing stats, top 5 leagues. You can see that Modric is still a very good passer. And Modric has been probably the biggest factor as to why Milan went from being a place team last season to now being third place team. There's 2 points behind both Inter and Roma, who are tied at first. And the impact Modric is playing in Milan. Also, I don't think they'll still have a good time in Milan. I do still think he's an amazing player. He's a path runner winner. I don't expect him to, at his age, to be able to dominate Serie A as he's doing. It kind of brings me back some Pirlo Milan vibes, you know what I mean? A guy who's great at passing, can set the tempo up with that game, kind of being at Milan and taking them to the best eyes of European football. Modric has the ability to now be able to guide Milan to win Serie A over Inter and Roma. I don't think that's really a crazy thing to say. Again, I'm very surprised to see how Modric has been settling in very easily at Serie A. It's a guy that I think if AC Milan wants to actually accomplish anything as a team this season and maybe even the next season, they have to trust Luka Modric and be able to give them the most weapons around them. The fourth player is Gnabry. Obviously, Müller left this summer to go to MLS. Musiala got a big injury in the World Cup against PSG. So Bayern had to have a guy in the squad to step up to the plate and become the new number 9. And Gnabry has just done that. Also, to think that Carl from the Youth Academy team has been very good when got the chances. It's been amazing. I think it's very close to getting that Germany call-up. But I think Gnabry has been at a level of quality, been very, very good. 15 games, 4 goals, 5 assists. Not really a quick stat line by any means, but the influence he has on that team goes beyond stats. His creativity, his agility in those close spaces, really so good for Bayern. I think also looking at the front three that Bayern has right now, with Michael Ollis and Michael Winger, I think we can say he had his breakout year last year. Eric Kane has been a guy that's been amazing this season, as well as Luis Diaz as well has been amazing. Their front three is very scary, and Gnabry as number 10 complement them very well, completes them as a front four, and maybe makes that Brian front four the most dangerous front four, most dangerous attack we've seen this season so far. Obviously, I expect Musiala to, when he recovers, to still be the main number 9. I think Gnabry has now a lot of minutes throughout the season. Also, a guy that in the summer is more on the off seat. As a player, I do think there was a lot of rumors around Gnabry possibly in Bayern. I don't think Bayern is really a lot or like considered as a key player for Bayern in the summer. And if a good offer come in, I feel like Bayern can accept that. But still, I feel like, but to see Gnabry turn into that, maybe to see Gnabry go from being a squad player at Bayern now being a very important player has been a full 180. I think that's been what I'm most surprised about. Seeing Gnabry, a guy who was really on the off spot at this summer, wasn't really like that great in the past couple of years. Now take up this bit of a role at Bayern and be able to deliver. It's been amazing. It's been very surprising to see. Also because Gnabry, we always see Gnabry as a winger, right? I think past couple of years also as a winger for Bayern. And the swap from winger to number 10 will always be very big. And for him to do that swap and be able to make that so effortlessly and be able to be so close for number 10 position also makes it even more surprising to see Serge Gnabry have this bigger overrun of form that we're having this season. And I said I don't think Musiala will just end up sitting in spots later in the season when he comes back. I don't think Gnabry is now earning minutes to start a lot of games over Ollis, Luis Diaz, or even Musiala as well. And I think it's now turned to be the first player off the bench for Company. Also, I think all the teams have to have some good players off the bench, and Gnabry is going to be a very massive weapon for Bayern in this season, either off the bench or as a starter.